We'll look at the newest treatment of management of diabetes later in our health segment. But first tonight, the scandal in the CIA.
Standing by with the mayor of Baltimore, Yolanda.
What do you think of this proud moment for the city of Baltimore?
It's beautiful. I love the energy down here. There's so many people down here.
BMW as they celebrate ramped up vehicle production at their U.S. assembly plant while issuing a major recall on one of their most popular compact nameplates. Americans will spend close to $1.7 billion, and that's right, with a B, on flowers for their loved ones. Since then, they've grown a strong presence here in Maryland. In fact, you're looking at an art class that's going on right here in Howard County. Rising gasoline prices are also renewing interest in another alt fuel, compressed natural gas. Students here at the University of Maryland say any increase is difficult in a tough economy. And in other news, Chrysler is working with the Department of Energy to evaluate the practicality of plug-in hybrid electric technology. While pay-by-phone parking apps are the latest technology available to consumers, Graziani says parking solutions may become so advanced that these meters could become obsolete. You could call it a case of mid-size misfortune, as several of the world's top-selling luxury cars are slammed with substandard crash test results. Mike Gorski, it was a pleasure.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
No, we appreciate that. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to find out more information about Wegmans, just log on to our website at npt.org and click on Your Money in Business. All right, Jeff, that'll wrap it up here from Hunt Valley. Now back to you in the studio. In just a moment, we'll talk with retired Colonel Cedric Layton, who has spent decades as a military intelligence officer in the United States Air Force. But first, I spoke earlier today with Maryland Congressman Dutch Ruppersberger, who was in the room when former CIA Director General David Petraeus testified last week on Capitol Hill.
He was a very beaten down man. There's a lot going on. He's working through his issues with his family. But the sad thing, it also is not good for the United States, because here was a brilliant person who not only knew the military side, but the intelligence side.
But I want to get back to Attorney General Eric Holder specifically said that throughout their investigation, they did not find anything with the Petraeus situation that posed a national threat. If that's in fact the case, then why did James Clapper ask that he resign?
Well, two things possibly come to mind. First of all, one of them would be that may not be the whole story yet. You
know, Congressman Ruppersberger said that he felt the Petraeus investigation went through the proper channels at the right time. And the right people were notified, although he did say something to the effect that he wished Congress had known a little sooner. But do you feel that way? Because from the outside looking in, I just am very, very confused. I mean, you've got this FBI guy who's getting information from Jill Kelly, who's then going. It's almost as if Jill Kelly didn't tip everybody off. Petraeus would probably still be the CIA director today.
Oh, probably so. Absolutely, unless something else happened, another shoe dropped, as it were. But Yolanda, you're right that there are certain questions about the timeline here.
What can you say of his legacy? We've got about 30 seconds left. Will this last scandal be the thing that tarnishes his legacy, or will all the work that he's done previous still stand out?
Well, I think in part the work will stand out, but his legacy is tarnished quite a bit by two factors, not only this scandal, but also the inconclusive nature of the Afghan war.
We appreciate that. And coming up, the latest treatments for diabetes. We're back in just a moment.
We plainly lay out.
For the third year in a row, Governor O'Malley has proposed a 3% increase in tuition for students at the University of Maryland and other state-subsidized schools.
It's something nobody wants, but it's something you have to do.
Senate President Mike Miller says the hike is necessary to keep up with inflation, but Delegate Pat McDonough strongly disagrees.
There shouldn't be any increase at all. People are struggling. He should cut costs and maintain the tuition rates as they are.
Governor O'Malley held tuition rates stagnant for 4 years, from 2006 to 2010. Senator James Rosapep said that helped make college tuition rates in Maryland more affordable.
That brought down our tuitions from the 7th highest in the United States for public universities. Today we're like 23rd highest.
Rosapep is once again introducing a bill that would put a permanent cap on tuition. Miller says it sounds good on paper, but it's hard to predict future costs.
So many needs at our college and our universities, including a lot of infrastructure that hasn't been met over the years.
The cost of education, it's expensive to run a university.
Sarah Bowder, Assistant Vice President of Student Financial Aid at the University of Maryland, says it's a delicate balancing act. If the 3% is approved, the university will assist those in need.
What we try to do in financial aid is hold those students who are the neediest harmless from the increase. And so we try to put some of the revenue back into need-based aid.
While many say O'Malley's proposed increase is modest at 3%, students here at the University of Maryland say any increase is difficult in a tough economy.
I think it's awful. It's really hard to afford college as it is, and 3% is a huge increase for a lot of us.
There are some people with parents that are living paycheck to paycheck, and this could be a huge toll on those households.
A show of solidarity in Annapolis by Maryland state firefighters for a Senate bill that would require all new homes to be built with indoor sprinkler systems.
It's like having a firefighter on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're right there in the early stages of the fire.
Maryland State Fire Marshal Bill Bernard says home sprinklers usually activate within 1 minute of a fire igniting. The potential to save lives is what prompted Senator Roy Dyson to sponsor the bill.
The statistics are just overwhelming. I mean, 80% of the people who are in a sprinkler residence survive a fire.
Most counties have adopted state standards that mandate residential dwellings be equipped with sprinklers. But this map shows several counties, highlighted in yellow, that have opted out of the requirement.
Traditionally, this has been a local issue. This has been something that's been hard fought in each of the counties, and this is really the county's job, not the state's job, to set this.
Senator E.J. Pipkin says the sprinkler bill not only infringes upon each county's ability to govern autonomously, it could also drive up housing costs.
But again, there's this question about, is this the best way to do it? Is this the most cost-effective way to do it? And can we achieve this a different way?
This report, which covers a 15-year history of a mandatory sprinkler law in Prince George's County, shows there were more than 100 fatalities in homes with no sprinklers compared to 0 deaths in homes with sprinklers.
I think you only have to take a look at that Prince George's County report to see how effective they are.
Once on the runway, I'll set max power. At 80 knots, I'll take the yoke, VMC.
A quick briefing by Captain John Hecker before a wild ride aboard this C-130 military transport aircraft.
We're going to basically show you what we would do when we're in Iraq or Afghanistan, going into or out of a hostile zone, things like that.
The 10-minute demonstration taking off from Martin State Airport is also a practice run for the Blue Angels Air Show. As everyone waits to hop on board, I can't help but notice I'm the last one to board the plane and the last one to strap in. As we taxi the runway, the crew does a few last-minute preps, and before you know it, there's no turning back. Almost instantly, we get jostled about.
I'm holding tight. Oh my God, I think I'm gonna close my eyes.
There's a few more sharp turns, steep nosedives, and then the moment we've all been waiting for. Whoa, whoa, oh! A few seconds of weightlessness, the crew bouncing in the air, everyone else grateful to be strapped in.
It's pretty amazing. Wow.
This is what Ernie looks like in action as the Blue Angels demonstrate its tactical capabilities. It's one thing to see it in the air, a whole other thing to experience it.
The fastest that we got in the demonstration was about 320 knots, which was 375 miles per hour. We pulled 2 Gs and then 0 Gs for a little while.
Captain Ben Blanton says today's demo is strictly for fun, but the C-130 Hercules aircraft is serious business.
This airplane that's behind me is in use by several countries around the world. We use it as a Marine Corps for aerial refueling platform, airdrops, just support the troops in combat. And it's got some pretty sporty characteristics.
All of which he couldn't wait to show us.
I think I'm all here.